All right, it starts early. I get my list and identify the things that need to come out first. Get gloves on if need be. Sanitize my knife. Sanitize my harvest bin. And get to work. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Harvesting from start to finish, so let's do it. First things first, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, awesome. Here's the thing. This video was a request from our Patreon group, patreon.com/farmerjesse. If you have a farmer, if you're ever wondering why more farmers don't do these videos, it's because it's a lot of work. It takes up a lot of time. Having that little bit of financial help helps. So if there's a farmer you like and you really want them to keep creating content, subscribe to their channel, share their stuff, kick them some money on Venmo or Patreon or whatever to say thanks. All right, talk about food safety real quick. Food safety is paramount. You don't want to make anybody sick. And there is a lot of good information out there about good agricultural practices and food handling. Follow the guidelines. And in terms of COVID-19, the CDC has food safety sort of recommendations, so follow those as well, and we do. Harvest list. These are some of our numbers from Friday. These are not representative of the whole harvest. These are pre-orders and CSA and market bags. So we harvest all of that stuff based on this list, and then we'll harvest extra stuff based on what's in the field and what we know we can sell. That's an experience thing. If I see that I have 100 head lettuces ready and we only need 25 or 30 for the CSA and for the salad bags that we do, then I'll harvest extra based on what I think we can sell at market, which is usually in May, like 30 or 40 extra head lettuces. If it's July, it's probably 100 or 120 head lettuces. And I'll do a summer harvest video if you all like this one. If you do, share it, like it, comment on it, tell me, because I won't know otherwise. That's how YouTube works. One question we get a lot is, how do you know when something is ready? And it depends on the vegetable, but really just pull it, taste it, and see if you pulled the whole bed, if it would get you the yield you need. You can take a sample down the bed, say it's turnips, and you're like, I don't know, I need 35 bunches or 50 bunches. Then you just walk down and pick a handful and see if you can make a bunch out of that. A lot of this is gonna be improvisational, so you're just gonna have to learn from experience by doing it. Taste it, see if you would buy it, put it in a bunch. Sometimes if it's smaller, you can put it at baby bunches. I think those are fun and they sell well at market oftentimes. Chefs love them. Yeah, baby vegetables can be great. But you have to determine for yourself if it makes sense for your yield and for how much money you needed to get off that bed. All right, so let's talk for a second about what we're harvesting into. These are like, I think 7 inches by 18 inches or something. It doesn't matter, I don't really recommend them. And the reason I don't recommend them is because is one main reason. When we harvest heavy things like potatoes or carrots, or if we have to haul these for a little while, this doesn't have a handle. So you're basically putting, 50, 60, 70 pounds on your fingertips. I think they hold 3/4 of a bushel, and that's just a lot of weight on your fingertips. I would say if you're gonna look for harvest bins, look for food grade harvest bins that have handles that your hand can go all the way through and not just the fingertips. The other type of bin we use is just like a plastic tote, deep tote. Just get what's available locally to you if you want to use these. I do like these a lot. They're easy to clean. You can fill them with water if you want to wash what you just harvested right in them. They come with lids that you can put labels on. Super simple. We often harvest our greens into these and then pack them in the cooler while they wait to be washed. So very fast, easy, and having the lid keeps the air off when they're in the cooler. Harvest knife, nothing fancy. We have a thing for yellow, obviously. These come from Johnny's. We've used them for years. I like them because that edge right there on the top, so that allows us to cut off the roots of things like green onions and leave the roots in the soil and take the green onion with us. I like that. It also helps when I'm clearing beds. We'll use these same knives to clear beds. We always spray them with isopropyl alcohol before and after we use them, just to make sure that they're sanitary and we're not contaminating anything. We do use the quick cut greens harvester. If you're doing a lot of baby greens, we do a lot of arugula and baby kale, and we maybe don't do as many baby greens as we used to, but it's nice to have this thing around. It's pricey, but it is an amazing tool. We are generally bunching stuff that is bunched in the field. That isn't every time, but for the most part, we're trying to add as much value to it while it's in our hand as we possibly can. So that's picking it, bunching it, putting it in the bin, taking it, washing it, and packing it into the cooler. That's generally how these things go. And you really need to think about field heat. When we're talking about those tender greens, getting them out of the field, getting them washed or cooled off as fast as possible is key, because that's gonna maximize their longevity for the customer. So the process with like lettuce is that we'll harvest it into a bin, wash it, bubble it, rinse it if it's needed. Sometimes the mulch gets into it. Spin it dry, and then pack it with gloves on. All right, so just to kind of reiterate here, tenderest greens first, and then we would cut things, then we would pull things with tender greens on them, root vegetables, carrots, and those sorts of things. And then maybe later on in the day, we would pull things like beans, garlic, and that sort of stuff. Some other crops that we'll harvest later in the day are yellow squash, zucchini, cucumbers, green onions, things that are less dependent on cool weather or field heat, that can survive a little bit of heat. As you can see in this clip, what we're doing is basically, I set it up in a semicircle. These are for packing our pre-sold salad bags, which are just 4 items for $10 that we pre-sell online. And basically, I put them in a semicircle, I get gloves on, and I pack everything into a bag and put it in the cooler that you can see there. And we have a lot of those coolers. Those coolers are really important to us, because when you're taking stuff to market, you want to be able to keep it in a cooler through the day. So if you so we'll take some of those bins with us because we don't have enough coolers, but we have probably 5 or 6 of those coolers, so we can pack those. We can pack quite a few of them with the majority of our vegetables, especially tender greens and the things that need to stay cold for like a 6-hour market day or an 8-hour market day. But we use those coolers a lot, especially for the CSA, the pre-packed bags, and any tender greens. The stuff that we'll bring in the bins are things like carrots, sometimes beets, things that maybe can hold off a little bit longer without being in a super, super cold environment. And then as we clear out those coolers, we'll start moving everything back into the coolers during market. Market is very active. We're very busy the whole time moving stuff around. So get it cooled off as fast as possible and stay cold as long as possible. I've already kind of done a video on basic wash pack stuff, but after we harvest, everything just goes into a cooler on the pallet. We keep everything off the ground. That's just for sanitation's sake, and because you're supposed to. There will almost certainly be some specific questions there. Let me know. Hit me up in the comment section. I will try to answer as many as I can. I have a lot of awesome farmer friends who follow this channel too, who maybe will help me out when I don't have time, because I'm making videos. Like this video if you like this video. That will help me to know to do more videos about harvesting. I will try and do as many as I can. I'll try and do a summer version of this and maybe a fall version of this, because the vegetables change, right? When we have tomatoes and peppers and those sorts of things, there is a slightly different protocol for how we utilize our time in a harvest day. Then there are things like beans and peas and all these others. So anyway, let me know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all later. Bye. What are you doing?